if our soil is already not that great, think about if you're trying to eat something that's not in season or in season for where you live.
Right.
You're not eating really food that's got nutrients. That's an argument for why I think everyone should garden something. Doesn't mean you have to garden all of the things you eat. We don't grow everything we eat. Hi, friend. This is Annette.
This is Jared.
And welcome to our Happy Family podcast.
We're passionate about happy, healthy relationships.
And that only happens with happy, healthy people.
So join us each week as we discuss the ingredients of making your own happy family.
Thanks for joining us. Let's jump in. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for listening to Jared and I talk about all sorts of fun things. This is the Happy Family podcast, and today we are talking about one of my favorite subjects.
Strawberry milkshakes.
Can't do that without hearing the song. Anyways.
Would you like me to talk about that?
The strawberry milkshakes?
Mm-hmm. Let's begin.
But I'm going to say what it is. Seasonal eating.
That's right.
Eating seasonal foods. Go, Jared, with your milkshake story.
For all of you who hope seasonal eating is strawberry milkshakes, here we go.
Okay.
So Annette nicely invited me to go with her and Ava last week on Ava's birthday.
Yes.
To pick some strawberries.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've done that before.
I don't think you had, actually.
Mm-mm.
And it's one of my favorite spring activities, I'm just going to say.
Yeah. So we are picking us some strawberries. And they smell amazing. And I'm like, strawberries, there's a different fruit. And then I started to think about fresh tomatoes.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's a different fruit too. Fresh food is so different. When we pick blueberries off our blueberry bushes, a different thing. It's tangy.
It's just better.
It's just amazing. So we pick all these strawberries and we bring them home.
Well, first, let's say they had the best strawberry lemonade at this place. They suck you in.
They do that.
They're not only can you get strawberries here.
They're like drug dealers.
Yeah. We have other things. Strawberry lemonade. I'm how good can it be? Well.
Ding, 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 ding,
I
ding.
mean, it was best ever. I actually think I should go tomorrow and get some, just get lemonade.
It was best ever.
Yeah. What I was going to say really fast is that Jared is not a dessert person. I know, right?
I'm a dessert Nazi.
I know, really? Who? It doesn't like chocolate. I mean, ugh. But every once in a while, he gets excited about something. And these strawberries, were a little light bulb went on in your head and you were like, oh! Go.
Yeah, light bulb went off. Well, I tasted that strawberry lemonade. I was like, oh my. So we got home and I said, Ava, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make strawberry milkshakes.
And she's confused, honestly. The poor child. Dad wants to eat sugar? What? Do we do this?
That's right. So I work my magic. I wash these strawberries. I get them ready. I blend them in the blender. I take a sip of this blended nectar of paradise.
Wow.
And I'm like, this
the tree of life.
Is amazing. It's sweet. It's so good. So then I get some, what is it called? So Delicious ice cream.
It was a plant-based vanilla ice cream.
I mix in the nectar of the gods, whatever you want to call it.
You're so
strawberry.
Weird.
And we have us some strawberry milkshakes. Now that is definitely, when I'm traveling, I'd usually try and find some fancy vegan restaurant that has strawberry milkshakes. And there's not a lot of them.
No, there's one in Arizona. No, in Las Vegas, there's one.
Yeah. So when you find it, please call me. I will come there. There's one in Phoenix. No, actually, I don't know if I have one in Phoenix. Anyway, so we make this and it was unbelievable. It was the best I've ever had. And I think it's because the strawberries were so fresh. Slap your mama. These are so fresh.
Oh, my word. I don't even know what that means, really.
It was amazing.
When you pick strawberries fresh, usually, so strawberries warmed at room temperature tastes better than cold strawberries because the sugars release more when they are at room temp or warm.
I believe that.
Or warmed by the sun. So it's you're walking through the strawberry fields and the air smells.
It's like Pepe Le Pew. It's just carrying you along.
Yeah.
You're just there.
The air smells like strawberries.
Oh, man.
And They're so good. It is a different animal when you eat fresh strawberries versus the ones at the store.
Just as different as fresh tomatoes versus not. I bet we could go down the list.
Oh, for sure. And tomatoes, we've talked about this before, friends. They do not taste good in winter at the grocery store. I hardly buy tomatoes out of season. I'll get like canned tomatoes, but like a fresh tomato, it's not worth your dollars because they don't taste good.
No, they don't.
It's not even that they don't taste good. They just don't taste.
That's right.
It's like a bland, and the texture. Oh, anyways. So eating foods seasonally, obviously, my number one argument as to why you should eat foods that are more in season, local to where you are, is because they taste better.
Good one.
100%. And not only do they taste better, because that's super important, they're much healthier for you. So there's this
Why is that?
process. There's this process called respiration, which is when you cut a plant from its life source, which are the roots, or from the tree, or whatever it is you are plucking or picking that from. The plant, fruit, vegetable, it starts to die.
It's like humans. Once you cut the umbilical cord, eventually we turn into raisins.
Okay, well, I realize how depressing this just wah, wah. Yeah. But it's true. So as you cut off that life source, it starts to basically all the nutrients start to just evaporate. So depending on what you're eating, for example, the time of death process could be very slow or very fast. Example being a strawberry is pretty fast.
Is this why they put wax on a lot of stuff?
I mean, yeah, to help it stay longer.
And it probably stays alive, if you will, and it keeps some of its taste.
Well, so a lot of the things that vegetables and fruits are treated with to make them last longer, a lot of times don't actually help the taste. They say they err on the side of it looking beautiful and lasting longer versus it actually being tasty.
Okay.
So it's
well, there you have it.
Take your pick. But
I read something that said that apples typically in the grocery store shelves are 9 to 12 months old.
Isn't that amazing? That's
world?
wild, isn't it? Apples do, however, have a slow respiration time.
But they also put wax on them too.
Yeah, but they will last longer. So for example, yes, you can pick an apple and you can store that for a long time versus something like a strawberry where it will inevitably in a few days start to wither and look like it's actually dying. So if you think about that, you want to eat foods that are nutritionally more dense. We should all want that just for the sake of our health. I think in general, there's the thought that I think has been backed up scientifically that our soil is depleted already in terms of minerals, vitamins, the things we need. The way we farm is not conducive to replenishing and putting back into the soil.
Let me break that down. We do not let the land rest,
right?
Which lets it replenish itself. We spray things on it.
We do monocropping type farming, which is the same thing, rows and rows of the same thing.
That's right. And we spray things that can lock up the nutrients in the soil and kill good bacteria,
right?
Preventing that bacteria from carrying lovely nutrients into your produce.
Right.
So the produce can look the same, sometimes even taste the same, but it doesn't have the nutritional value. Tell about that thing with broccoli.
It's devoid of nutrients. Yeah, like broccoli grown in the fall is like super high in vitamin C.
Same soil, same conditions.
Versus in the spring or any other time, it's like half.
That's amazing.
So if our soil is already not that great, think about if you're trying to eat something that's not in season or in season for where you live.
Right.
You're not eating really food that's got nutrients. That's an argument for why I think everyone should garden something. Doesn't mean you have to garden all of the things you eat. We don't grow everything we eat. We still buy things from the grocery store. Some people don't, which is great. But if you could just grow a couple things, that's fresh. That's seasonal. Yesterday it was fun because I harvested a bunch of lettuce, cabbage, and ate it. We ate it like literally right away. If you think about the amount of nutrients you're getting, its respiration, time was so short, like 30 minutes.
Yep.
So that's my soapbox on that. Okay. So it's better for you and it tastes better. So it saves you money. I remember, where were we? We visited somewhere and we wanted to get blueberries for you for breakfast. And they were organic blueberries. And it was like out of season. And they were like $10. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. I do remember that. I don't know
forget where we
but it was
were.
like, never mind.
It was like the little tiny, I don't know what that little tiny carton of blueberries is. It's normally already expensive. If you get organic, it's like $5.
I want to tell them, like, I'm not as dumb as I look.
It was legit $10. So if you try to eat things that are within the season of when they're being farmed and harvested and all of that, it's going to be cheaper for you.
You're going to save some dollars.
You're going to save some dollars. There's going to be the random time you're going to want something extra special. Well, that's fine. But normally you're not going to want to spend $10 every week for multiple cartons of blueberries. You're spending like $30 a week just on blueberries.
Right.
It's not going to probably financially be good for you. So keep it in mind. Like, why not save your checkbook and eat like more seasonally? So that's another reason.
Save it for milkshakes.
Save it for Jared's milkshakes. I feel like you should have a recipe, but it didn't even require a recipe. It was so good. It was literally pureed strawberries and ice cream.
You're welcome.
I don't know what your ratio was. Anyways.
Welcome to our cooking show.
Yeah. Welcome to our lessons on Jared's cooking. It's better for the environment. If you think about how far, like the average food travels 2,000 miles from where it's harvested to get to your plate. That is like a long way.
That's right.
Which is crazy because back in 50 or 60 years ago, it was so much closer. Like when we all used to have farms closer. Now it's like 2,000 miles. I read somewhere, and I'm not going to quote it verbatim, but it was the idea of if there's one way you want to be more self-sustaining and help, reduce your carbon footprint if you care about that, but just the thought is grow your own greens. Because greens are only grown in like 2 places in the country. And so they have to go far to get to you for the most part. And so greens are pretty easy to grow. So it's the thought of like, that's one way you could not have to buy something from the grocery store, grow your own greens. So I think there's a lot to that. But even if you aren't big on environmental health, like it makes sense for your food to come from not 2,000 miles away if you can whatever, do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seems far. But anyways,
so it's fresher, it's tastier, it's better for the environment.
Yeah.
Better for your community.
Yeah. And one thing which I didn't say when I was talking about how it's better for you, it's really cool how if you think of summer, stone fruits, things like that, like peaches, nectarines, all those are very popular in summer. Those are huge in like beta carotene, which is like known to help your skin, like not get sunburn, all these things. Things in summer are big on electrolytes, like watermelon, cantaloupe, cucumber. They're all mostly water. Well, in summer, you need the most hydration. You need the most of those electrolytes. When it flips over to things like winter, you have a lot of the dark leafy greens. You have a lot of things high in vitamin C, like we said, like the broccoli, but there's spinach, there's leafy greens, there's kale, and you need all those things during that time of year to help you maybe combat the worst time of flu,
Absolutely.
sickness, all those things. I'm like, that's so cool how at different times of the year, the things you need to stay healthy are what's mostly available. So I think the thought with this is like the fourth reason, you don't have to grow this food yourself. You can source from like a local farmer's market or
CSAs and things.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's huge. That's so helpful to people. We actually have friends who do this. And it's, I mean, supporting a CSA is important. But if, let's say, you don't have a CSA near you, you don't go to the farmer's market, at least know kind of what is in season and then buy that at the grocery store. Because then at least hopefully it will be cheaper, like we said, because it's in season. Hopefully, since it is the time of year for that food, like you're not going to get pomegranates in July. Like it's just not, so try to just get the things that will be more seasonal and thus hopefully they're fresher, picked from wherever it is they're coming from, even if it's far. But the last thing, at least for me, which I never thought, to me, all these points are 100% why you should eat seasonal. Like you should be doing it. But another thing, which I never thought, and that is it's really fun to look forward to eating certain things that you can only eat at certain times of the year. So it's almost like like a prize. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, like this celebration of that time of year. So I'll give you an example. Chive blossoms, the chive plant, the little green, chives that grow. If you have them planted in your garden, which by the way, they're perennials in most places, which means they will come back. So if you plant them once in your garden, to me, they're a staple. They should be there. They come back every year. They flower into these really cool, tiny purple flowers. And Jared's smiling because he knows my crazy chive blossom affinity. These things, they taste good.
They do. They taste
flowers.
Well. They're really good.
Okay, you can make chive blossom vinegar, which tastes great. I use it a lot for like salad dressings. I use it on cabbage. I use it in a lot of things. And it makes this really cool pink vinegar. And the flowers themselves are great in salads or in anything. I also use those. Jared the other day was like, are these chive blossoms? I'm like, yes, you are eating flowers.
They look like
so many flowers are edible.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it's so cool how there's certain things. Now, those are only available like 2 months out of the year. And then that's it. Yeah. So it's like something to look forward to. So for example, me, being at home, having my daughter here at home with me, she literally remembers chive blossoms.
Definitely.
Which is fun, right? It's something like, hey, when are there going to be chive blossoms? Today, I kid you not, we were in the garden. She turns around and she goes, oh, Mom, honeysuckles. I said, yes, there they are. We make stuff with honeysuckles every year. So she knows. So I think it's cool that you get like nature gives you this like special treat of certain things. Like you're only going to enjoy those delicious tomatoes, for so long.
That's a good point.
So savor it. I guess what I'm trying to say is to living within the seasons also, I think, means savoring, not just like on your palate, but savoring the opportunities and the moments that those seasons bring, because then it'll be gone. You only get to do those certain things,
Well, in their optimal peak shape. Yeah. There's a window for them.
Yeah. It's like, I mean,
you get the old cheap version from another country.
Yeah. It's just it's not the same thing is what I'm saying. It's not the same experience. It's not the same thing. Like, in spring now, strawberry picking, you don't get to do that all year round. So if you get the opportunity, go do that.
Yeah.
Go strawberry picking. In the fall, you can go pick apples if you don't have apples and make something out of those apples. You can make applesauce. I think this is where, for me, preserving some of the foods you grow and harvest or purchase is really fun because you get to kind of have a glimpse of those moments later on in the year.
Yeah.
If you had apples, it was really fun for me because I had canned some apples 2 years ago for pie filling. And then Thanksgiving last year, I didn't have apples and I was like, oh, but I have pie filling. So I made apple pie with the pie filling. And that was something, you got to enjoy later because I had preserved it. So, preserving food is also a way that you can maybe extend some of those benefits of seasonal eating in a way.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I think for me, the most fun has been realizing things that happen each season and how to incorporate those into your foods and make special things. Like, for example, garlic scapes. That's like the flour that shoots out from the garlic. I'm actually going to make pesto tonight from the garlic scapes. But, you can make pesto from garlic scapes. That happens like twice a year.
Yeah.
So it's special.
True. Yeah, that's a good point. And it's good.
Yeah, it's so good, which it's so funny. I had this shirt on earlier. I don't have it on now, but Ava gave me the flour from a garlic scape. And literally I was walking around thinking, why do I keep smelling garlic? Like, what is my problem? And it was in my pocket right here. And so I was smelling it the whole time. And I was like, what is wrong with me? But anyways, yeah, this whole seasonal eating. And so I did a cookbook like 3 years ago. I don't even remember. That is all on seasonal eating. And it breaks it down, into 4 seasons. And it's got kind of recipes that you can follow along with the seasons. We'll link that in the show notes. But yeah, it's just been a thing. That's the more each year comes, the more special I feel like the seasons are, and eating things seasonally is my jam.
I think you're right.
He's like, please stop talking about seasonal
it's interesting
eating.
because some of the things you mentioned, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if anybody even knows about those, like garlic scapes.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Well, if you've grown garlic, yeah. I mean, if you don't know and you happen to be growing garlic scapes come off of the hard neck variety of garlic. There's 2 varieties, soft neck, hard neck. The hard necks shoot out this long stem with a bulb at the top, which is a flower bulb. And when you see that, you cut it off, because if you don't, the plant will now put all its energy into growing the flower versus developing the bulb underground. So if you cut that off, it's like a chive kind of, but with more of a garlic taste. You can blend it, chop it up, you can eat it. And then your garlic is usually ready to harvest about 4 weeks after you cut that scape.
Boy, you just like made me realize, like, the whole principle of plucking your fruit the first 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years on fruit trees.
Yeah.
And even with this, like, when a plant starts to produce fruit.
Same goes for onions.
Or people. I'm totally convinced, like, all your energies are going into the show. It can be good. Not always bad. Versus when it's not happening, all your energy, hopefully, is going into the roots. So, wow.
Like, you want to develop strong roots.
What a good life lesson.
Yeah. And if you're wondering about what Jared said, not joking, for the first 3 years of our blueberry bushes and our fruit trees, we picked the blooms for 3 solid years. What I will say, I think our blueberry bushes are hopping.
Yeah, I mean,
they are the best they've ever been. We have some of the
healthiest blueberries.
They're ginormous.
They are that.
I just found a picture the other day of when Ava was little, and I looked, and it was in the blueberry patch, and it was like these tiny little plants. So there is something to be said about growing your roots. Not to turn this into a life lesson,
Preach it,
but developing your roots in your own life. Yes, like work on having a solid foundation.
Don't worry about the show. The show
Don't worry
will
about
come.
the show, because when the trials come, you want your roots to be strong. All the things, but yeah. Anyways, it's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of, this is my favorite subject. Let's talk about it again.
All right.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, I will put in these show notes, and you know what? I'm going to make a note because I'll forget, and link to a blog post where there is a list of seasonal foods for each month of the year. So this does depend on where you live. Obviously, it varies. This isn't like a set in stone. If it says it, that's what's in season, but it will give you a general idea. And I think for the most part, we know cucumbers aren't in season in December, usually, or, different things. So just keep that in mind. Go look at it, download it, have it, print it, and just, hopefully it can help you not only have tastier food, but I think the utmost goal is to be healthier. I think we all can take anything in this day and age when everything is trying to make us unhealthier. Friend, you you do the most you can to be healthy. This is one of those ways.
Love it.
Thank you for listening and being a part, and we'll be back next time.